When we speak of greatness in football, the name that inevitably commands attention is Cristiano Ronaldo. Yet behind the goals, trophies, and headlines lies a story not of luck or talent alone, but of will. A will so sharp it could cut through impossibility itself. Ronaldo's journey begins not in the stadiums of Madrid or Manchester, but on the small island of Madeira, where a young boy chased a dream bigger than the streets he grew up on. His story is not simply about football, it's about identity, resilience, and the psychology of becoming extraordinary. When Ronaldo speaks about his childhood, there's a recurring theme: hunger. Not the poetic kind, but a literal one. There were days of scarcity, when ambition had to feed on itself. He once said, "If you don't believe you are the best, then you will never achieve all that you are capable of." It sounds arrogant on the surface, but when you look deeper, it's philosophy, the belief that the mind must lead before the body can follow. Every legendary figure, from the philosophers of ancient Greece to modern athletes, understood this: the first battle is always within. Ronaldo grew up watching his father work as a kit man at a local club. He didn't have access to privilege or advanced facilities. What he had was vision, the capacity to imagine himself on a bigger stage even when everything around him suggested otherwise. This is where the foundation of the fast game begins, not just as a style of play, but as a mental discipline. Ronaldo learned to think fast, react fast, and dream fast. His speed wasn't born on the training ground, it was born out of necessity, out of a life that demanded constant adaptation. When you listen to him in interviews, there's a pattern: simplicity. He speaks directly, often with confidence that borders on defiance. But that's exactly where his intellectual depth hides, in the clarity of purpose. Ronaldo doesn't overcomplicate his philosophy. He believes that life rewards consistency and effort. That belief has guided every choice, from his sleep schedule to the way he positions himself for a header. The intellectual strength lies not in abstract thinking, but in execution, in the discipline to repeat perfection until it becomes instinct. What separates Ronaldo from others is his self-awareness. He understands his value and his flaws with equal clarity. That's rare in any field. He has said that pressure doesn't break him, it sharpens him. Psychologists might describe this as a growth mindset, but Ronaldo's interpretation goes deeper. He transforms pressure into energy. Every criticism becomes a trigger to improve. Every doubt from others becomes internal fuel. There's something profoundly human about that, the desire not to prove people wrong, but to prove yourself right. If you observe him on the field, his movements are calculated, his timing exact. The fast game is not merely about speed and motion, it's speed and thought. It's anticipation, seeing the play 2 seconds before it happens. That anticipation is psychological mastery. It requires presence, but also detachment, to stay aware while the world moves in chaos around you. This balance between instinct and intellect is what defines Ronaldo's approach to football and to life. But beyond the stats and highlight reels, there's a moral dimension to his story, one that speaks to anyone chasing a dream. Ronaldo's success dismantles the myth that talent alone defines greatness. He has often said, "Without work, talent is nothing." That's not just motivational talk, it's a challenge to the comfortable. It's a reminder that persistence is a spiritual practice. Every drop of sweat, every early morning run, every repeated drill is a meditation on discipline. In that sense, Ronaldo isn't just an athlete, he's a philosopher of effort. What's most inspiring, perhaps, is how he carries the weight of expectation. Every match, every goal, every season, he's not just competing with opponents, but with his own legacy. Imagine that psychological tension, to be the standard everyone else measures themselves against. Yet he thrives under it, not because he is immune to pressure, but because he has learned to coexist with it. He doesn't deny fear, he channels it. That's the lesson his story teaches. Mastery is not the absence of struggle, but the mastery of response. And then there's the human side, the man who still finds time for his family, who cherishes his roots, who carries the humility of remembering where he came from. In an age of fleeting fame and distraction, Ronaldo reminds us that success without grounding is fragile. The humility he shows in moments of reflection, when he speaks about his mother, his children, or his beginnings, gives his greatness depth. It's not just physical excellence, it's emotional intelligence. So when we call this section "The Legend Speaks," it's not merely about an interview or a soundbite. It's about listening to a man who has lived his philosophy. Ronaldo's words are not rehearsed, they are distilled from experience. Each line reflects a decade of choices, sacrifices, and inner battles. He doesn't preach, he demonstrates. And if there's one truth we can take from his story, it's this: greatness doesn't wait for permission. It doesn't depend on perfect conditions. It grows from the courage to act, fast, fearless, and focused. The world remembers goals, trophies, and records, but the real victory is invisible, the daily war between comfort and commitment. Ronaldo won that war long before he won the Ballon d'Or, and that's what makes him more than a player. It makes him a symbol of what's possible when belief meets discipline. Because in the end, the fastest game isn't played on the field, it's played in the mind. When Ronaldo talks about the fast game, most people assume he's referring to physical speed, the sprints, the quick turns, the lightning reflexes that define his playing style. But if you listen closely, it's not just about movement, it's about mind. The fast game is a philosophy. It's a way of perceiving the world, of reacting to life before it even finishes throwing the next challenge. Ronaldo's speed isn't born in his legs, it's born in his thoughts. He thinks fast, decides fast, and adapts even faster. And in a game where a fraction of a second separates glory from failure, that mental sharpness becomes the real advantage. When you watch him on the pitch, everything seems instinctive: the positioning, the timing, the execution. Yet what looks like instinct is actually the product of years of conditioning his mind to see possibilities others miss. He anticipates not by guessing, but by reading the flow of energy in the game. He's aware of where the ball will be, not where it is. That awareness is not random, it's trained intuition. In life, as in football, the ones who succeed are not just those who move fast, but those who understand fast. They learn, process, and act before doubt can slow them down. Ronaldo's fast game begins long before the whistle blows. He studies patterns, observes his opponents, and visualizes outcomes. He has said that before every match, he imagines the goals he's going to score, the runs he's going to make, even the mistakes he might encounter. This visualization isn't daydreaming, it's preparation. It's how he programs his mind for precision. He enters the field having already lived the moment mentally. That's what makes his reaction so immediate. He's not thinking in the moment, he's remembering what he's already prepared for. It's a kind of mental time travel, one that only the deeply disciplined can achieve. This mental quickness is tied to an even deeper psychological truth: control. Ronaldo's fast game isn't chaotic, it's measured. He doesn't allow emotions to cloud his judgment. In high-pressure moments, when the crowd roars and the stakes rise, he remains centered. That calmness amidst chaos is not natural, it's built. It's what separates the great from the merely good. Many players can run fast, but few can think clearly while doing it. Ronaldo's gift is that he merges intensity with intelligence. There's a lesson here beyond football. In our own lives, the fast game applies to decision-making, ambition, and resilience. We live in a world that moves at high speed. Opportunities appear and disappear in seconds. The question is not whether we can keep up, but whether we can stay clear-headed while moving forward. Ronaldo teaches that speed without focus is wasted energy. Every move, every choice must have direction. Being fast is meaningless if you're sprinting toward the wrong goal. Philosophically, Ronaldo's approach to the fast game touches on something ancient: the idea of flow, or being in the moment. The philosopher Heraclitus said, "No man ever steps in the same river twice." The world, like the game, is in constant motion. The only way to master it is to flow with it. Ronaldo doesn't fight the speed of the game, he becomes part of it. When he runs, he's not reacting to chaos, he's guiding it. There's a quiet dominance in that kind of control, a balance between surrender and command. But control doesn't come easily. Behind that calm exterior is a mind forged through repetition, frustration, and self-reflection. Ronaldo trains not only his muscles, but his attention. His diet, his sleep, even his posture are aligned with one goal: efficiency. He understands that to play fast, the mind must be uncluttered. That's why he avoids distraction. Every detail, from how he breathes during a sprint to how he celebrates a goal, is part of the larger psychology of speed. Ronaldo's interviews often reveal glimpses of this mindset. When he says, "I don't chase records, records chase me," it's not arrogance, it's awareness. He's not reacting to others' expectations, he's operating in his own rhythm. That's what the fast game really is, the mastery of pace. Knowing when to accelerate, when to wait, and when to strike. In football,